Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today I will be taking you to the Texas Aroid Show pre-show setup in Houston, Texas. This was a recently concluded show, but as always, I want to make sure that you please hit the like button for this video, as well as following my Instagram at Grow Folds. I am excited to feature this pre-setup. And if you haven't already, please make sure you are supporting the Texas Aroid Show. Follow them as well on Instagram and on Facebook at Texas Aroid Show. But as you can see right here, Luke went along with me, and we actually are going to show you what it looks like before a big plant show like the Texas Aroid Show. You can see that there are many vendors with tubs and tubs of plants, and the purpose of this video is to really showcase the amount of work and effort it is to be able to put on a show such as the Texas Aroid Show. I was really thankful and super honored that the Texas Aroid Show actually chose me as somebody to cover and be, quote, a plant influencer. So I wanted to make sure that I brought another type of content for you guys. I know I typically do big box store plant shopping videos, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got to see some behind the scenes footage of what it looks like to do a plant tour, or actually a plant show such as the Texas Aroid Show. So you can see it is about 3:30, and this is what the actual show looked like when the vendors started to just kind of show up and start to get their plants together. You can see right here, this is Toltec Plants. And we have Jim here, who is the only person that was working at Toltec Plants. I love Toltec Plants, and you can see that is me right there. You might see a face reveal. Just make sure you watch the video to the very end. But I was helping him unpack some of the actual plants that came all the way from Florida. So I just wanted to say hello to Pearl and her husband and family. Was actually hoping that I could see them, but you know, with the hurricane damage that happened out in Florida, I'm just glad that they are safe. Toltec Plants is another plant shop vendor that I absolutely love, as well as Nirvana Tropicals. So one thing I want to tell you about Nirvana Tropicals is they have some phenomenal philodendron hybrids. So as you can see right here, if you saw the actual Texas Aroid Show video where I featured the full show, you can see they had a wonderful setup. But as you can see, plant foldies, and for those that are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. You can see that they just had tons and tons of plants to unpack, and just the amount of work it actually takes to make a presentable booth. There is quite a bit of effort that is placed into it. I happened to get to talk to the guys at Nirvana Tropicals, and it was just really exciting to hear the process of just how meticulous it is to be able to make philodendron hybrids. I've purchased a philodendron hybrid from them in the past, as well as a variegated Syngonium batik. So they're showing me some more of their philodendron hybrids right here. You can see that this one is an interesting one. It is a Texas Jose Buono crossed with another philodendron of some sort. And you know, the world of hybridizing different types of plants is still very new to me. I know that there are a lot of people who hybridize anthuriums. I happen to love Aglaonema, for instance. They have so many different hybrids that you can find actually in Indonesia, but it's really nice to see that Nirvana Tropicals is a local Texas nursery out in Houston, Texas, that hybridizes philodendrons, and you can see they just have so many beautiful plants. One thing I also want to note to notify everybody is, as far as how beautiful these plants are, you can see that they have even the leaf shine. So just even the presentation, look at how vibrant the neon colored yellow philodendron that they have here. I believe that is the Nirvana emerald. I think that that's what they call it. I'm not 100% sure, but you can see right here, look at how beautiful that is. And it almost reminds you like of a philodendron painted lady, but this one has even more bright yellow to it. And you can see that that is a specific hybrid with the red stems. And you know, when it comes to specific plants, it's just interesting how there's just different coloration, variegation, stem color. I mean, you can see right here, this is that Texas Jose Buono. Really love the variegation variegation on that. And you can see right here, they've got a syngonium and just more beautiful philodendron, Nirvana, emerald over here. I will say, as far as the Texas Aroid Show, I thought it was a super successful show. And for me, just being able to see what the show looked like before the actual show. So this footage right here was taken Friday afternoon all the way to Friday evening. So they actually had a window of time from 3:30 to 11 for all the vendors to actually get their setup, their booth set up for the actual show on Saturday. But as you can see right here, they just have empty tables so far. So lots of vendors are coming in and out. And I did want to say, for all the vendors that allowed me to film them and just was really comfortable with me actually trying to get some of the behind the scenes stuff, I did want to say thank you so much. I mean, you can see right here, Jim, he is one of my good friends that I always see at plant shows. Really love the fact that he does help with Toltec plants. Again, for those that don't know who Toltec plants is, please follow them on Instagram at Toltec plants. They are considered more so a wholesaler, but I believe, you know, as far as like being able to buy their plants, I believe you can actually order them and get them to ship you some of their import plants. So these plants are actually imported from Thailand. So these are fresh imports or plants that are grown in their Florida nursery. You can see right here, they've got some type of variegated hanging basket plant. You can see right here, their plants are phenomenal. And, you know, some people, if you've actually followed Toltec plants on Instagram, it was really heartbreaking to see the flood damage that happened in, you know, with the hurricane. But I'm really glad that their plants are still fairly, you know, they look great to me. You know, some people will say that, you know, they're maybe being a little bit more critical in their plant selection. But for me, I still felt like they had a great selection of healthy plants. And, you know, I always say, I always recommend Toltec plants to anybody that really wants to get some of the more uncommon, rare, and variegated plants. But I'm just going to pan around here and keep walking around to show you what other vendors are working on their plants. You can see right here, this is Plantita's Dreams. And I love Fatima. She had so many amazing Hoyas and so many different types of plants available to purchase. She had euphorbias, she had syngoniums, she had philodendrons, she had monsteras, she had number one, some of the more amazing plant pricing that you can find at this plant show, to the Texas Aroid Show. Right over here, Plant Foldies, we have the Tropical Wishes booth. So I've seen Tropical Wishes many times. I remember seeing them at the Texas Aroid Show, the very first one I attended out in Dallas. And then I saw them at PlantCon, I think both PlantCons, and now they're back here. And you can see that Tropical Wishes, what I like about this booth is they have so many different tropical aroid plants that you can pick from. And so if you really want that uncommon or rare plant, Tropical Wishes is another vendor that I would recommend checking out because they have so many different selections. You can see they've got the lanyards for the vendors, and over in this middle section is where they had the competition plant. So you can see right here, this is the philodendron Nirvana hybrid, and this one actually won third place at this plant show, and congratulations to Nirvana plant. Tropicals, I really love that philodendron and would like to be able to get a you know, that type of philodendron in my plant collection. And as I walk over here, this is the famous Nest Tropicals, and Nest Tropicals is really known for the Hoyas, and you can see this is just the beginnings of the plant setup right here. And as I pan away, you can see that the actual area is really not that full yet. But for those that actually got to see the Texas Aroid Show, and I did want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch my my plant show video, because I feel like most people may not be able to make it to a you know, an Aroid show like this. I always want to encourage people, or actually have this type of content available, so more people will get excited about, you know, going to a plant show, you know, investing time to even like take a weekend off, fly over to another state, travel out of town just to see such beautiful plants. I mean, see, you can see right over here, this is plants by Viridiana, and you can see that she is a local Dallas Fort Worth vendor. She actually has her own Facebook where she has a huge plant community where they do plant swaps, and it was really nice to be able to finally meet her, and she was just so accommodating, and I was really thankful to see somebody more of a familiar face out at this plant show. You know, a lot of Dallas plant vendors were here, and it's really you know, I'm really proud to say that Dallas actually has a strong plant community, as well as Houston, Texas. But I did see quite a bit of Dallas vendors. You know, Tropical Wishes, I believe, is from Dallas, as well as plants by Viridiana. And so, you know, that's just one of those things where as you continue to get involved in the plant community, you will meet so many amazing people. And then you can see right over here, Nirvana Tropicals, they are just working really hard to get their booth set up. I'm spinning around here, and you can see that Jim has already showed some people some of these plants. What do you think about the variegated bird's nest? She needs it. She needs it. She does. Buy from Toltec Plants. Oh, we're haggling now? Hey.
In this economy.
Look, inflation is real.
It is gorgeous. You need to put this on the side for me.
So as you guys can see right here, this is Toltec Plants, one of my favorite places to buy. Now, unfortunately, they did get some damage from the recent hurricane, but you can see here they are still coming in with full effect. So again, at the Texas Aroid Show, this is just a little bit of a preview of what plants you will be able to see. And you can see right over here, we've got a lot of the vendors getting ready to go on here. And plant foliage, you can see that this is the beginnings of the Woohoo Tropicals actual booth. So that was one of the premier booths that I wasn't able to actually feature at the Texas Aroid Show. But if you already collect anthuriums, you already know about Woohoo Tropicals, one of the best places to get some really nice hybrid anthuriums. And then you can see right here that even the plant vendors, different plant vendors, are always kind enough to help each other set up. So you can see right here, this is Woohoo Tropicals booth just getting set up. And then you can see right here, living and growing. Look at all of these different types of plants available to purchase. You got some Aglaonema, you've got some Croton plants. And you know, as far as like a plant show like Texas Aroid Show, so a lot of people will always say that, you know, plant shows typically have more of the variegated rare plants. I do appreciate you know, plant vendors that will bring snake plants and more of the easy to care for plants that you can find at, say, at a big box store. Because I feel like not everybody's budget is always going to be conducive to some more of the rare plants. So it's always nice to have a diverse selection of plant pricing. I mean, you can see right here, so many different plants. And you can see, I haven't ever seen a thornless crown of thorns. That was really interesting. And, you know, that was one of the plants that I regret not purchasing at the Texas Aroid Show, as well as the Philodendron Jungle Boogie. You know, Jungle Boogie Philodendron, that serrated philodendron, is another one that I want to collect all the different varieties. So the Jungle Boogie is really the basic green one, but, you know, just because it's basic and green doesn't make it any less of a plant, because actually the green versions of plants, the non-variegated ones, are typically easier to grow. And I feel like if a plant is easier to grow, then it will actually bring you a lot of joy as well, because you're not stressed about trying to keep it alive. But as you can see right here, it is not a full-blown show yet. You can just see that behind the scenes, this is what it looks like to set up a show. This is the reason why I always say, for those that make it to plant shows, please make sure you show your gratitude to the plant vendors. You know, a couple of factors that come into play for some of the plant vendors that maybe not everybody really thinks about. You know, whenever you show at a actual plant show, you just think that, okay, I'm here to buy plants, you know, admire the beautiful plants, but the amount of effort it took to grow the plants, number one. Number two, the time and effort effort it took to actually transport the plant. We've had some plant vendors that were from out of state, vendors from California and Florida, and just being able to haul all of these plants into a plant show. We had international plant vendors as well that actually ship plants from, say, countries like Indonesia. The effort it takes to get these plants, I just hope that, we continue to show support by, number one, attending these types of plant shows, number two, following all of their social media platforms, and number three, finding a way to buy a plant from these plant vendors. Like for me, I know I do a lot of big box or plant shopping videos, so I've literally probably spent an entire mortgage worth of money on plants in the last month and a half, because I went to PlantCon 2024, and then I went to Texas Aroid Show. And then obviously me going to big box stores pretty much daily and finding some plant to pick up. The costs come around, but it is always nice to support these local plant vendors. I mean, take a look at this. This is a beautiful variegated silver dragon. And I will say officially, I felt like Tropical Wishes was the first plant vendor to get their plant booth set up at the Texas Aroid Show. I mean, they did have a little bit more help, but as you can see right here, when you walk around, like, look at all of these variegated and beautiful plants. Like, that's a Pachira aquatica or a money tree variegated form. Beautiful plant. And I always say that Tropical Wishes, if you want to find that one wish list plant, I feel like you can find it. Like, check this out right here. This was a variegated Alocasia cucullata. This one is for $80. It's got some really nice neon green variegation on it. And as I pan away over here, it's a really nice, cute booth. I hope that Tropical Wishes had all of the sales that they wanted for the Texas Aroid Show. And, I always feel like as we continue to go, as I continue to make more plant content where I showcase plant shows, I hope that this type of content will actually encourage more people to go out and shop plant shows like this. And for me, if you want to actually support me, I hope that you can actually hit the like button for this video, because as anybody hits the like button for this video, this actually pushes this video out to more plant lovers like yourself. And more plant lovers like yourself means that this plant community will grow. This will actually give more exposure to a lot of the plant vendors at the Texas Aroid Show. Right now, I am actually looking at Fatima's plants. This is Plantita's Dreams. You can see she has some phenomenal Hoyas right here, different types of Hoyas. And I haven't necessarily entered my Hoya phase or my Hoya era officially, but if I were to enter my Hoya phase or Hoya era officially, I would buy from Fatima at Plantita's Dreams. She had an amazing setup. You can see that she has her own shelves. She's got tubs and tubs of plants, and I honestly can say that she had some of the most cost-effective plant pricing for her Hoyas and other plants. Like, I saw a beautiful variegated Monstera aurea for only $50, and it was already a really good plant size. I regret not purchasing it because a good friend of mine, her name is Janae Simone, who I will actually be doing a plant podcast with called Cultivation Corner. I probably should have called her and got her wish list plant from Plantita's Dreams, because again, she does have some beautiful plants for a very cost-effective plant pricing. I was able to get a couple of Japanese pothos from Fatima, and I was super excited about that because they were actually pretty good size pothos plants as well. But one thing I wish I could have bought from her was more of her Hoyas. I really do want to get into Hoyas because Hoyas tend to be a little bit more forgiving. And, as far as plants, I need to find plants for me that are a little bit more drought tolerant, a little bit more forgiving when it comes to neglect. And I didn't realize that Hoya could be fairly easy in that sense. But you can see right here, plant foldies, Plantita's Dreams. Let me know in the comment section what plants you would have bought from her actual setup. You can see that it's not a full setup yet. It's literally tubs and tubs of plants. I can only imagine actually being a plant vendor. I would actually be extremely stressed because not only do you have to haul your plants, right? You also have to plant price these plants, make sure that they're presentable. And you got to think, if you are at the Texas Aroid Show, you are probably a premier vendor. And so there's already a lot of competition when it comes to just plant pricing in general and the kind of plants you have. And then as I walk over here, I do see some kokedama. I love that. They've got some Aglaonema red siam. You can see that this actual vendor doesn't have their stuff out quite yet. They still have it kind of hidden. And as I was actually filming the setup, you can see that there is a little bit more progress. You know, stay tuned to the very end of the video. You'll see how this show comes to life. But it's just really interesting that the amount of hours it actually just takes to set up a plant show. So you can see right here, Toltec Plants was here a little bit early, so he's just setting up all of these plants. Again, for those that have never heard of Toltec Plants, please make sure you are following their Instagram at Toltec Plants. And then I am just showing you even more Hoya here. So I'm just gonna walk around and show you all of the plants that are still in their tubs. Let me know what you think about, you know, the plant setup so far, you know, what efforts it is to take, you know, a vendor to actually have to place in order to actually show at the Texas Aroid Show. And you'll see that there are a lot of tubs getting ready to be placed and arranged. All of these vendors are working hard to just get their setups. I mean, it's still pretty early when I filmed this footage, but you can see that Tropical Wishes has pretty much have gotten their booth ready to go. I am super excited that I've been able to just see how the setup goes for plant conventions like this. You know, Texas Aroid Show is on year 3, and I really hope that we continue to grow the awareness for Texas Aroid Show, because there is a lot of work that is placed into it. As you can see right here, we still have some of the vendors coming in, and you can see that Texas Aroid Show 2024, this is the third annual, and you can see all of the list of vendors and also sponsors. You can see that this is just a banner of what vendors we have available over here. The platinum sponsors are at the very top, and for me, being able to travel to Houston, you know, that is my hometown. I was just really happy to be able to come down here and also visit some family. I am excited that I was able to actually meet some of our plant foldies, and you can see right over here, Plantasy Garden has a lot of these plants getting ready to be placed and arranged. You know, I've seen Plantasy Garden actually at many shows, and they have a lot of variegated plants. The thing about going to a plant show like Texas Aroid, you will see a lot of variegated plants, uncommon plants, but you will also find plants that are fairly cost effective, even though they are considered rare or uncommon plants. I always say, if you're going to a show like the Texas Aroid Show, definitely set up a budget, definitely save some money, because you will be tempted to purchase many more plants. If you actually saw the full show of the Texas Aroid Show that I have on my YouTube channel, you will see what I mean, because I was able to feature a lot of these plants in detail. But as you can see right here, whenever you are setting up a show, there is a lot of just organization that is required. I mean, Plantita's dreams, Fatima was able to just let me film a lot of her plants, and when you see the final product at the actual show, you would be surprised about just how many tubs were actually placed to create a lot of these Hoyas, and just to be able to have a variety of plants. I always say to give a lot of homage and to give a lot of credit to all of the vendors that, you know, that actually show at a show like Texas Aroid, you know, to be able to travel, to be able to grow, to be able to propagate these plants. There is a lot of effort. And so I always say support local plant vendors, support the vendors that actually make a, you know, a journey to go out and actually support, you know, a Texas Aroid show like this. I mean, you can see right here, look at these gorgeous, gorgeous plants. You can see that Tropical Wishes, though, they have their booth ready to go, and they have so many rare and uncommon plants. And you can see Nirvana Tropicals has their setups starting to come to life. You can see that Toltec Plants is also coming to life. You know, Jim is by himself. I think he's updating Pearl about just what that looks like. And now we're going to go to Woohoo Tropicals. So Woohoo Tropicals is actually a premier premier vendor that really sells a lot of rare and uncommon anthuriums, vanda orchids, and orchids in general. And so I was really excited to be able to feature at least the setup. I know that when I was actually doing the Texas Aroid Show full show, I regret not being able to feature a lot of the plants that were at the show, but to be able to see a lot of the vanda orchids, you can see that the canopy isn't quite there yet, but you know, he did get some help from Nirvana Tropicals, and you can see that there are so many beautiful plants. And what I would say about Woohoo Tropicals is that he has a lot of these rare and uncommon anthuriums for a very cost-effective price. You know, I keep going back to Plantita's Dreams because she does have a huge setup as well as Toltec plants. And if you already know and have followed my YouTube channel, I am really partial and a huge fan of Toltec's plants. Just because Pearl has always been kind to me, she was able to get me some rare Aglaonema at PlantCon 2024 in Dallas. You can see that this is one of the Aglaonema I ended up getting. And you know, as far as getting Aglaonema rare and uncommon plants, I recommend going to Toltec Plants. Follow them on Instagram at Toltec Plants. You'll see that they have several rare and uncommon plants. And again, these are plants that are grown from their farms out in Thailand. So you will see a lot of these uncommon plants that you won't necessarily see out in the market. I mean, you can see right here, we've got some Syndapsis right here. I haven't really gotten into Syndapsis, but I've noticed as of late that they have just gotten more and more variegated versions of Syndapsis. You know, it's amazing how the plant market continues to churn a lot of these new varieties of plants. You know, when I was looking at a lot of these philodendron and even alocasia at the Texas Aroid Show, you know, I was able to see that there were a lot of crosses of different types of philodendrons, you know, different types of hybrids. And for me, I am just excited to see what the plant market is going to look like in the next 10 years. But for now, as you can see here, Plant Foldies, this is a behind the scenes look at what a plant show looks like as it comes together. You know, I was actually very fortunate, very thankful, and very excited to be invited to actually cover this this show. I'm hoping that other shows will consider me as somebody that could potentially cover more plant shows, because it's just a lot of fun. You see right here, Prop and Grow Plant Shop. Now, this is probably one of the biggest vendors that I've seen at shows like Texas Aroid Show, even at PlantCon. They had a huge amount of plants that came in from Florida. You know, I'm really happy that they were actually able to show in Houston. I was gifted an Aglaonema Super White, so thank you so much for that. But you can see right here, their setup. They were still setting up so many plants. I think there was a little bit of stresses about whether they were going to be able to fit all of the plants. Look at this Alocasia infernalis, for instance. I was able to see a lot of Alocasias and other uncommon plants and rare plants that I didn't see. What I will say about Prop and Grow Plant Shop is not only do they have uncommon and rare variegated plants, they also had easy care basic plants for very cost-effective pricing. Actually, if you ask me, their plant pricing was really good. So if you want to, you know, collect plants and you want to buy plants from them, you can actually follow Prop and Grow Plant Shop on Instagram. I believe they ship out. You can send them a direct message, but you know, like this variegated Aglaonema right here, look at how beautiful that is. And if you follow my YouTube channel, you already know I talk about plants that are a little bit more overlooked, a little bit more underrated, plants that not a lot of people get into, and Aglaonema is one of them. My goal is for anybody that ends up finding my YouTube channel at Growfolds is to get people more excited about Aglaonema, really getting that excitement going. And whenever you go to a plant, you know, show like the Texas Aroid Show, you run into those uncommon plants that not a lot of people talk about. But as far as Prop and Grow Plant Shop, I had a really good discussion about just the plants that they had. You know, I wished all of the vendors the best of luck the night before at Texas Aroid Show. And as we continue to push out more content out there, I really hope that this will get you excited to possibly take a weekend off and travel out of state, travel out of town to go to a show like Texas Aroid. the CEO of the Texas Rare Plant Market, I believe, or at least this show, Mylene, we call her Lenny. She just put so much effort into this, just getting this all organized. And even the Texas Aroid staff, the vendors, they just had so much going on. But you can see right here, Syngonium Godzilla. This is a pretty big size Syngonium Godzilla for $40. I really love that. And as far as Syngoniums, they are an easy to care for plant. I always recommend though, if you're going to grow Syngoniums, to really try to give them that light. Otherwise they get a little bit leggy, and try not to let them dry out completely for too long. They tend to not do well once they have that drought spell. And then as far as Hoyas, that's something that as I've gone to these plant shops and plant shows, I've just become a little bit more accustomed to Hoyas and just being able to see them. And then this is really plants from Greenspaces ID or plantshop.us. This is an international vendor, and they typically vend at plant shows. I'm super excited that they had all of these plants, which have come straight from Indonesia, and they're able to offer a lot of varieties of anthuriums. And going to Texas Aroid Show, I didn't even realize that there are so many people that are into anthuriums. I have started to really get into anthuriums, and the reason being is anthuriums, once you figure out the substrate to put them in, for me it's semi-hydro, which is growing them in Lechuza Pond. They do very well. Now, as far as Greenspaces ID, Art Garden Flowers, those vendors that actually came from Indonesia, they actually had a promotion where you can get 20% off, and you were able to pick up the plants at the show. What I like about doing that is you don't have to pay for the shipping from Indonesia. So of course I capitalize on getting a lot of plants, especially Aglaonema. But as you can see right here, Plantasy Garden, they have a bunch of variegated Alocasia odora. I've seen their setup before. And then right over here is the beginnings of Living and Growing, which is a Filipino-based vendor that sells all of these plants. And what I love about their plants is they propagate these plants in-house. So really love that. And then they also have a lot of different types of plants. Again, as far as the vendors, I hope that I was able to feature as many vendors as possible. If I did miss out on possibly featuring your shop, please send me a direct message. The next time I am able to go to a show like Texas Aroid, I will definitely make an effort to really get that. There is a lot of emotions when you come into a Texas Aroid show, or just a plant show in general. For me, it is a pure joy and excitement. There was just a lot going on. I was really trying to balance getting every bit of plant content out there, but also to make sure that I took the time to meet a lot of our viewers and subscribers at Grow Folds, our wonderful plant foldies. Really appreciate that. And for those that actually got in and recognized my grandmother and even took pictures with my grandmother, thank you so much. She is really the inspiration as to why I originally got into plants in general. That's just something that was very important to me. And this actual Texas Aroid Show had a really strong Filipino community of vendors, and they just showed how hospitable they are, the Filipino culture, especially when it was interacting with my grandmother, my Lola Belen. But anyways, going back to the plants, you can see that a lot of these vendors do have a lot of the variegated plants. If you're looking for Monstera albos, if you were looking for some hybrids of different types of philodendron, a lot of established plants, there were different sizes. So if you were looking for a plant and you didn't really have the biggest plant budget, you can always find plants that are starter plants, plants that you can grow from a very small size and eventually get it into the size that you would like. Depending on how much money you want to invest in buying a plant, you can see right over here, for instance, these variegated Aglaonema. I ended up getting one of those, and that's the thing. You really can't find these plants in the market. And as far as investing plants, I say go to Texas Aroid Show. Go to these types of plant conventions, plant shows, because then you don't necessarily have to go buy online. You can pick the plant out yourself. And for me, it really makes it worthwhile to be able to support all of these plant vendors. I could only imagine what it would be like to prepare for a show. I mean, you can see right here, this is a massive setup of Plants by Plantasy Garden. They were here a little bit earlier, but you can see that they have so many plants. Like, look at this totem of Epipremnum aureum. Shangri-La, that's actually an original Japanese Teruno pothos, and it's become more readily available. I would say about 3 to 4 years ago it was super expensive. I've noticed that a lot of the plants, if you really want to hold off on purchasing plants when it's first fresh, you'll end up saving a little bit more money. But for me, like even this right here, they even have mature versions of Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. So that is a result of letting the golden pothos climb up a pole, and it really sized up on its leaves. It almost looks like a Monstera aurea. And then as you can see right here, just so many other plants. I'm just gonna keep walking around and kind of showing you what else is readily available at the plant show. I actually intended to upload this video before the actual plant show, but as you can see right here, I ended up like filming this really late. I think I got done filming this content around like 9:30 or 10. They had about till 11 o'clock to really film it, and then I didn't really get as much sleep because I wanted to go make it to the VIP banquet where Texas Aroid Show featured a lot of guest speakers. One guest speaker that really got me excited about semi-hydroponics was the plant Poppy, who is based out in Dallas. And that's the thing, I realized that being in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there is a really strong plant community. And, as far as getting the community going, I hope that whatever city you are in, wherever your community is, it's always great to connect with plant lovers, because number one, you're able to stay in tune about what plants are available in your market. Number two, there is a sense of camaraderie and positivity. I always say there's always going to be some type of some type of plants that you can get, but you might be able to acquire them for a more cost-effective plant price. Now, Rad Roots is another plant vendor that I believe is based out in Houston, and I was able to actually interview the guys and actually talked to them during the plant show. But you can see I was very much drawn to their setup. They actually got their setup done fairly quickly. You can see they have so many different types of plants. So they have like philodendrons, anthuriums, a plethora of alocasia. They've got a bunch of Hoyas. They just had everything. But the running theme I will tell you about going to Texas Aroid Show 2024 in Houston is almost every vendor had some form of anthurium. And for me, just seeing that there is a huge following for people that want to grow anthuriums makes me want to kind of follow that trend. But I also believe in getting plants that are going to be a little bit more suitable to your growing condition. So for me, once I figured out that I could actually grow anthuriums in Lechuza Pond and grow them in a plant room where I can run my humidity to about 65, 70, it has made it a lot easier. But as far as Rad Roots, definitely follow them also on Instagram. Definitely support them. Support any of the plant vendors that were actually at the Texas Aroid Show, because you can see right here, they just had so many gorgeous plants. Like, I cannot get over how gorgeous these anthuriums are. I am in the process of actually trying to get my house organized. I basically just have plants everywhere, and I'm hoping that once I get, shelves put in on my walls, I'll be able to really display my plants in a more tasteful manner, because at this point, I basically am just buying and buying more plants. So, for those that are watching my plant foldies, I asked this question: do you believe that you have a plant addiction, in a sense that when you go to a plant shop, or better yet, if you go to a show like Texas Aroid Show, you buy one plant and you feel like you have to buy another 10 more, even though you may not necessarily have the space. That's kind of the space I'm in right now. I don't necessarily regret it, because at the end of the day, plants make people happy. Plants make people just excited and just love life in that sense. But as you can see right here, Rad Roots, look at that. Gorgeous plants, lots of variegated plants. And what I can highlight about Rad Roots is they have such a diversity of different types of plant species. I can't really talk plant species, and their plant pricing when you go to their show was really cost effective. And that's the thing. Sometimes people will get intimidated about going to a show like Texas Aroid Show because they think that all of the plants are super rare and you're spending thousands of dollars. There is a wide range of plant pricing, and I appreciate that. After talking to a couple of the vendors, I did kind of give them insights about what sellers, what buyers are looking for at a seller's, and one thing is the price, if the price is right. So I just kind of gave them my insights. Whenever I do big box store plant shopping videos, I kind of know what the general pricing goes for certain plants, so I can tell whether a plant is either over priced or underpriced or put within the range of the market. And that actually goes with just the plant trends. Plant pricing really varies. It's kind of like the stock market, where if there's a demand for a particular plant, if there is a need versus just a want, it becomes a little bit more pricey, and they kind of fluctuate. Certain plants, what I've noticed at the Texas Aroid Show, was able to hold on to their value, even though we're past the pandemic. I just remember when Monstera albos were extremely high, but Monstera albo, for instance, is another plant that has remained stable in terms of its plant pricing. But again, look at this right here. We've got some gorgeous anthuriums. I want to buy more anthuriums, but for me, anthuriums have to really grow for me in semi-hydroponics, lechuza pond. And, I was looking at Amazon, and unfortunately, lechuza pond is out of stock. So I have been scrounging all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area trying to find more bags of lechuza pond. I'm thankful to Vic and Vines for her being able to sell me a bag of lechuza pond, so I'm able to get some of my other plants in there. A lot of the plants I ended up buying at Texas Aroid Show were actually import plants, so they were in sphagnum. If you haven't already, please check out my Texas Aroid Show plant haul, where you'll see the process of me spraying down my plants, making sure that the plants are healthy, and then transferring them straight into lechuza pond. Now over here, you can see that this is one of my favorite vendors. This is also another Filipino-based vendor. This is Cultivar, which is one of the original rare tropical plant shops in the Houston market. They actually have their own brick and mortar shop. They also have a Filipino restaurant called Patis and Toyo. Definitely check that out. I love Filipino food. Some Filipino foods that I would highlight would be like lumpia, adobo, those types of things. And part of my YouTube channel, I would say, is I want to make sure that there is awareness for the Filipino American community as well. Anyways, going back to these plants, you can see right here lots of Monstera mints that they have, starter Monstera mints. That is another wish list plant that I definitely want. I do believe that the plant pricing is still a little bit high for my plant budget. Some people are willing to invest in that. I'm gonna wait another year or two to see if some of the plant pricing may go down, or better yet, if somebody is able to gift me a cutting or do a plant trade, I'm willing to do that as well. There are some plants though that I will buy. I will say though, for Cultivar, their Monstera mint starters were really priced at an affordable price for what the current market is. And that's the thing about these plants. You really have to do your research. You've got to compare and contrast. You've got to look at what is available currently. And going to a Texas Aroid Show, especially if you really took the time to just observe and watch the plant pricing, what people were buying, you'll get a better idea of what is actually within the market range for plants. But you can see right here, Syngonium albos. Syngonium albos are a classic variegated plant. That was a plant that was super expensive about 4 years ago. I would say some plant pricing for Syngonium albo, especially the ones that are a little bit more variegated, still sell for a pretty decent price, whereas you can still find some too for a very cost-effective price. So it really depends on the source. Same thing with Philodendron Florida Beauty. Now, remember acquiring a Philodendron Florida Beauty through a plant trade. And at the time, Philodendron Florida Beauty were, close to like $500. Now you can see that Cultivar is offering them for a pretty good price. And I love the look of Philodendron Florida Beauty. I would say that is another philodendron though that you have to let to actually grow up a totem pole for it to really mature. Again, you can see right over here, Nest Tropicals, lots of Hoyas. That is probably the premier Hoya seller right here. Although they have other plants, they actually had a couple of Japanese pothos, and that was another, plant that I wanted to get at the plant show. And you can see right here, they had some gift bags with some moss poles and plants. You can see that they have, they're still just getting this all set up. So for those that have made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It really helps with the engagement. It helps push the Texas Aroid Show videos to more plant lovers. And for me, it is all about getting that awareness for the Texas Aroid Show. I mean, you can see here they had a plant competition. Look at how stunning this variegated Billetier is right over here. Look at how gorgeous that is. That is another wish list plant of mine. So if you're going to ask me if it is a want or a need, for now it is a want. So I'm going to have to just wait till the plant pricing goes down, or if I'm able to acquire it through a plant trade. You can see right here, Philodendron Nirvana Emerald. This is a Nirvana Tropicals hybrid. You can see how beautiful that is. And I am fortunate enough to have two philodendron hybrids from Nirvana Tropicals. I ended up sending them a direct message actually on Instagram, and I was able to do an online order, and they were able to ship out to me. Now, as far as Steve's Leaves, you already know that if you are into plants, you've heard about Steve's Leaves. Steve's Leaves was actually one of the platinum sponsors. Super thankful that Steve's Leaves was there. And you know what? I actually ended up volunteering a little bit at Steve's Leaves to help prepare for the show. All of those Monstera albos that you saw, I was able to help clean and make sure that they were manicured and presentable for the show. So that was my little contribution to Steve's Leaves. Again, super excited that I was able to get access to Steve's Leaves. The whole staff is extremely kind, and they have wonderful plants. Raices Plant Shop, love this plant shop. And what I will say about Raices Plant Shop is they have a very curated and beautiful way of presenting their plants. Look at this Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. I love that as well. And this is just one of those gorgeous plant setups. I love the fact that there is a lot of care that Raices Plant Shop put in terms of just making sure every single leaf was healthy. Every single leaf had a wonderful leaf shine to it, and just the variety of different types of plants that they have. They also grow their plants propagation in-house, and to me that's really impressive. So Raices Plant Shop, please follow them on Instagram as well. They are a Houston plant based shop, so definitely check out their brick and mortar store. But you can see right here they've got a variety of different types of philodendrons, alocasias, Hoyas, Ficus elasticas, Syndapsis, lots of plants. I mean, I just love it. Like, look at this right over here. Beautiful, beautiful Philodendron Florida Ghost. And you can see that it's got that minty ghosty look with the new leaves that unfurl. As I continue to walk around during the plant setup, one thing I will say is that a lot of the plant vendors were really just working hard to produce the best possible booth, just to have that great presentation for those that love plants. Like, again, I'm back at Plantita's Dreams. This is a Philodendron Orange Marmalade, and you can see her plant pricing. Fatima has some of the best cost-effective plant pricing out there for rare and uncommon plants. And if you went to the Texas Aroid Show, I definitely would say you would agree with me as well. I was able to acquire a couple of Japanese pothos. Next time I see Plantita's Dreams at a plant shop and plant show, and hopefully soon, I want to buy some more Hoyas, because I am more comfortable growing Hoyas because they're a little bit more forgiving. But you can see right here, look at these beautiful plants right here. Really love that as well. And you can see that she has a plethora of things. So again, if you haven't already, please follow Plantita's Dreams at Instagram. She does sell online. She is able to ship out as well. So if you find a plant that you want to buy from Fatima, definitely do that. Love her so much. And I was able to just get to know her, get to see what her process looks like. And Fatima, she was so down to earth, even though she had so many really nice plants, and some of them were super uber rare. And I love all of her hanging baskets of Hoyas. That's one thing I regret not purchasing from her, is these gorgeous Hoyas. That's one thing that I definitely will do the next time. I did try to stay within budget for this plant show, because again, we talk about this multiple times at least on the Grow Folds videos. I have just gone broke buying plants. I mean, I just can't stop buying them. And again, I ask all of the plant lovers right there, if you are addicted to plants and if you have this like just hunger to keep buying plants like I know I have, and it's gotten me in somewhat a little bit of a bind, but I will be fine. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the setup of the Texas Aroid Show. Again, it is plant content that I want to get out there that is a little bit different. Because whenever you go to a plant show, and if it's ever featured on YouTube, it's already set up. But as you can see right here, you are currently seeing this plant show come to life. I am back at Nirvana Tropicals, where now they have a lot of their plants coming out. They've got their little canopy set up. They're about to get the lighting. And I will say Nirvana Tropicals had one of the most impactful booths, because they had that gorgeous lighting which pretty much illuminated a lot of their philodendrons. And that's the thing. In terms of whenever you are selling plants or plants that you're trying to grow, you want to try to give them a more beautiful merchandise plant. I think plant merchandising, plant organization really inspires people to buy more plants. At least that's just common, retail 101 for me. If it's organized, if it's shoppable, if it's valued at a cost-effective price, you're going to get that, and that's feedback that I honestly gave to a lot of the plant vendors. And I hope that as I continue to go to these plant shows, more vendors will really look at what the consumer wants. I always say, try to provide plants that most consumers will obviously want to buy, but I also mentioned to some vendors to bring plants that maybe consumers may not be as aware of, but maybe also create a new trend of plants that are not really seen or not really discussed, aka Aglaonemas. But you can see right here, Nirvana Tropicals, Epipremnum pinnatum, C. bubulu aurea. And when you talk about Epipremnum pinnatum, they just remind me of my home country, which is the Philippines, because the Philippines has so many Epipremnum pinnatum that are just endemic. They're literally weeds. And it's really interesting that a lot of these plants that we find at like a Texas Aroid Show grow readily available out in the wild in a Southeast Asian country like the Philippines. The concept of houseplants in a Southeast Asian country differs, because a lot of these plants are able to grow outside year round versus being brought into a home where we're having to put grow lights to supplement their light, where we're having to use humidifiers to really acclimate these plants and get them as close to their natural environment. So it's just a totally different vibe when it comes to wherever you live in the world, what that environment looks like. But going back to Nirvana Tropicals, as you can see right here, Plant Foldies, they've just got wonderful variegated plants. And this is another plant vendor that, the guys that run it, their business practices were just amazing, because a lot of these plants, again, are propagated and grown within house. And you can see that their specific hybrids, like this one is for $60. What a gorgeous plant. And if you know my plant aesthetics, I love neon colored plants. With these plants right here, I do believe that a lot of the neon colored has to be provided with a lot of light. So definitely something that you have to take in consideration is lighting, especially for the neon colored plants, or at least that's what I've seen in my care, that the more light you provide them, the better coloration in neon colored plants. Syngonium ormthong, beautiful plant as well. And then even though this plant isn't that uncommon, that philodendron black cardinal, as well as the Syngonium white ribbon, beautiful plant. And I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you more of the beautiful plants by Nirvana Tropicals. Can you tell that I love Plantita's Dreams? You can see this Monstera Aurea here. This was a really good price, $55 for a really nice variegated Monstera Aurea. You know, I thought about my friend Janae Simone. I should have got this for her because this is one of her wish list plants. And just a little plug, if you haven't already, I will let you know that I will be part of a plant podcast show called The Cultivation Corner. It will be debuting in December. So it'll be like a plant podcast talk show. I hope you can subscribe to our official YouTube channel at The Cultivation Corner, as well as Instagram. I had fun actually filming the first episode a couple of days ago with Janae Simone and Steven at I Lift Plants. Please make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channels. And then over here, variegated Syngonium Batik. This is one Syngonium that I should have bought from Fatima of Plantita's Dreams. That's one that I am probably going to message her about if she still has some available, because that is such a gorgeous plant. You already know I love Syngoniums, and Syngoniums are really a hit or miss for some people. Some people love them, some people aren't really into them. I will say that they are definitely overlooked as far as a plant. And you can see that Plantita's Dreams again, and I'm doing a lot of promotion for Plantita's Dreams because she had a lot of plants, and I could really just see her setup from start to finish. And you know, it's just exciting because when you actually go to the Texas Aroid Show, you can see her booth came to life, and there were so many people shopping Plantita's Dreams. Again, please make sure you are following her on Instagram. She does do online shopping, you know, selling, and she can ship these plants to you. So that's one thing that I am going to capitalize on. It's one thing that I definitely want to do because why not? She has some amazing plants, and these are plants that I would definitely recommend, as well as Nirvana Tropicals. Now, as you can see right here, this plant show is starting to come to life. You know, let me know in the comments what you think so far of what you've seen as far as like the plant content and the plant show, what the setup looks like. I'm really interested to see your thoughts about these plants, because a lot of these plants, again, there's just a lot of effort that's placed in. I mean, you can even see right here, whenever you go to a Texas Aroid Show, you can see that if you can't afford to buy a full-blown, like super rare Hoya, Plantita's Dreams, for instance, sells cuttings. And that's another thing that I love, is the fact that, you know, she sells cuttings. You know, sometimes you can start a plant collection through cuttings. I think that if you're able to grow a plant straight from a cutting into a full-blown plant, there's a little bit more emotional attachment to the plant. At least for me, that definitely is the case, because there are some plants that I've had over the years that have really grown, and that they just started out from a plant cutting. And, you know, that to me is super exciting. But as you can see right over here, we just have more Hoyas, and these Hoyas, if you can really see the plant pricing, it's a really good deal. I did want to ask the plant foldies watching this today, if you haven't already, if you're a first time watcher of my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Girl Folds with the notification bell on, as in all notifications. Sometimes YouTube will have personal notifications, but I would hope that you would actually stay in tune to all of my plant uploads. Again, I try to do daily plant shopping videos to just really quench anybody's plant thirst. I know that we all look forward to looking at plants. I love making this type of plant content just because who doesn't like to watch plants? At least for me, it is very therapeutic. I can talk to you about plants for hours and hours, and, you know, showing you these Hoyas, for instance, $15 for a lot of these starter Hoyas. That one particular Hoya for $50 is one of the Hoyas that is on my wish list. Again, you know, Hoyas, if you're able to provide them with higher humidity levels, more bright indirect light, they tend to do well. Now, I was able to listen to a plant conversation from Nest Tropicals, where she gave us a lot of tips about the history of Hoyas, how to care for Hoyas, and that was very insightful. One thing I took away from Hoyas is I didn't realize that if you provide Hoyas with a little bit less light, some of the Hoya leaves will actually expand and become a little bit larger, versus what I originally thought, that the more light you give a Hoya, the more it will actually grow. larger leaves, but that's not always the case. And that's the thing about, you're constantly learning. At least for me, I'm constantly learning because I am definitely not an expert when it comes to plants. And as I continue to go to these plant shops or these plant shows like the Texas Aroid Show, you run into a lot of amazing people who are very insightful about these plants. And to me, that's super important. For me, if you want to learn about plants, talk to the plant vendors. These are the experts that have grown and propagated these plants. You'll really know a lot about what that looks like in terms of the plants. Again, I'm back at Nirvana Tropicals. You can see right here, Syngonium white ribbon. Really like that. I was actually able to get a variegated Syngonium white ribbon from Greenspaces ID. Super excited about that. And Philodendron black cardinal. I got a small starter one. And even though I could get this in the United States, I did want to support the international vendors. So I ended up getting a Philodendron black cardinal. I love dark foliage plants, and for me, the biggest challenge whenever growing plants would be the routines around watering. And so as you watch this video, please leave comments in the comment section. I want to know your insights for those that have gone to the Texas Aroid Show, what your plant routines are in terms of watering. I found that growing plants in semi-hydro has made it a lot easier for me to grow, because then I don't have to worry nearly as much about watering. I just fill the water reservoir and then I'm good to go. But I just can't stop looking at Nirvana Tropicals philodendrons. I definitely want to continue to get that awareness out for Nirvana Tropicals. They have very healthy plants. They've got some good diversity of plants, and the owners are just extremely kind people. And when you run into people that are genuine, that are kind, that are willing to just create a passion where everybody can enjoy plants, that is always going to be a plus. You can see that they just have so many plants, and I'm going to continue to walk around and show you the setup.
You don't want my heart, you don't want my love, you just want me crying over you. You don't want my heart, you don't want my love, you just want me crying over you. And I'm thinking about you, thinking about you.
Here's another beautiful vendor called Amazing Plants, amazing setup right here. Variegated desert rose. And as soon as I saw this, I thought about my grandmother, because she loves growing desert rose. And as she stated in some of her videos, she loves expensive plants. It's really an inside joke. Honestly, my grandmother is not always about trying to get expensive plants. To let you guys know, my grandmother just loves any plants that can grow in her care, although she has gotten into these variegated plants because they have become a little bit more readily available. Variegated desert rose was one plant she ended up buying. We ended up buying it for her as a gift because that is something she really wanted to get. And I'm glad that there were these variegated desert rose, and they were priced at a pretty good price. $50 for a variegated rose. Desert rose is not bad at all. And that's the thing about going to Texas Aroid Show 2024 in Houston. You can acquire plants, not only just aroids, but you can also find succulents and cactus. So for those that love succulents and cactus, you can go to a plant show like this and acquire a lot of these beautiful plants. For me, growing these variegated desert rose, for instance, it's gorgeous. I actually have a variegated desert rose that was gifted to me by my friend Tanya from Green Acres out in Irving, Texas. They had one, and I ended up transferring it in a very porous substrate to where it had fast draining soil. And that's the secret to growing these plants. You want to make sure that you put them in fast draining soil, because it's pretty much a succulent, and providing it with full sun or bright light is definitely a must. Now, as winter comes around in North Dallas, I won't be able to grow it outdoors, so it's going to have to go indoors. And with that being said, I definitely need to make sure that I put that plant inside under a grow light. But amazing gardening, amazing seeds. They had a bunch of euphorbias, they've had a bunch of cactus, so we'll just walk around and show you some more. Right here, Plant Foldy Star Succulents Garden, another vendor that really specializes in succulents and cacti, and I love this. I got to talk to Winnie. She was really kind, and we talked about just succulents and cactus, and we talked about our favorite type of succulent. My favorite type of succulent is an Aeonium. And she ended up actually having the Aeonium that I've had on my wish list for quite a while. And I was able to buy one of the Aeoniums, and that is the Aeonium Pink Witch. It's basically a very pink succulent. Really like the shape of it. And it's one of those Aeoniums that is really costly if you're going to try to buy it online. But I was able to get one for $10. And that is an extremely great price. But you can see right here, she's got some rare succulents and cactus. Now, again, I am not, an expert for rare and, cactus like this or succulents in general. So I'm still learning, but, being able to see these at a plant show like the Texas Aroid Show, I have to commend the Texas Aroid Show for really bringing in other plants besides just aroids, because some people really are into succulents and cactus. I do think that, unless I am wrong, there isn't nearly as big of a following for succulents and cactus as compared to the aroid plant. But this is what I was talking about, the Aeonium Pink Witch. Look at how stunning that is. And I hope that I can get my Aeonium Pink Witch to look like that. The secret to that particular pink plant is the more light you provide it, the better variegation it's definitely going to get. You can see there are other types of Aeoniums, and if you're going to ask me, that is my favorite type of succulent. So definitely a fan of that. Now, as far as succulents, you definitely want to let their soil dry out completely. You can actually let them stay dry for a while, because if you overwater them, that is the fastest way to actually kill them, because of overwatering. It will just give them root rot. But beautiful Aeoniums, and I'm just going to continue to show you this was actually later in the setup, so a lot of the plant vendors were already complete, but you can see these were only for $10. And yes, I ended up buying me an Aeonium from her, in Aeonium Pink Witch, and I was super excited about that. I was actually the first customer she had before the show, so hopefully I was able to give her some luck. Hopefully she was able to sell a lot of plants. Please follow them on Instagram as well, because any vendor that actually showed at the Texas Aroid Show, I really hope that Plant Foldies and just the community at Grow Folds, please make sure we are actually supporting the plant vendors, because they work very, very hard at just getting these plants set up. So let me know in the comments what you think about some of these succulents and cactus. Definitely follow on Instagram as well, the Texas Aroid Show and the Texas Rare Plant Market. They have a Facebook group as well. Let them know that Richie at Growfold sent you there. We want to make sure the Plant Foldy community is represented on those social media platforms. So definitely check that out, and then we just will continue to walk and show you some more plants. see right over here, we have Zone 9 Tropicals. I think this is Zone 9 Tropicals booth. Hopefully I had it correct, but you can see there are many different types of plants, from philodendrons and just different types of alocasia. Their plant booth hasn't been quite set up yet, but you can see that there is quite a bit of plants. You know, Zone 9 Tropicals is another premier tropical, rare tropical plant vendor, and I purchased plants from them as well. Love that they got that variegated alocasia. And for me, again, plant foldies, if you want to grow alocasia, it is not a beginner plant, but if you try semi-hydroponic substrate called lechuzapon and actually transfer that may actually make them possible to grow in your plant collection a little bit more long-term. But you can see lots of gorgeous philodendrons, and I'm just happy, you know, and I'm happy to just kind of talk about how that whole setup was, you know, observing the vendors, observing the helpers that actually help these vendors set up. There is really a strong, positive community with plants. And, you know, when it comes down to just community, sometimes there might be some negativity here, but what I can say about the Texas Aroid Show is everyone's really kind, very helpful. And even at the actual show, you can see that there were so many passionate plant lovers, and everybody was just really excited to celebrate plants. And to me, you know, being part of a plant community, especially the DFW plant community, it's just really nice to see these plant gatherings, because a lot of us have a common love for plants and just that passion. You know, some people won't understand why we get so into plants. For me, I can't live without plants. You know, it's one of those things where, as a person, I've always had plants in my life. I think it's because as a child, I saw my grandmother grow plants. I remember starting my own gardens. I really was into landscaping and all of that. But anyways, going back to the plants, this is one of my favorite plant vendors. This is the D&M Secret Garden. And the reason being is my friend May, who I met actually at PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, Texas, specializes in Japanese pothos. And you already know I am in my pothos era, love Japanese pothos. So she's actually one of the few vendors in the United States that actually has the rights to sell the Teruno series of Japanese pothos. So you can see pothos, some people will be like, yes, it's a basic plant. But even talking to May and talking about how excited she was to really grow these plants, you can see that these are from the Teruno series, which is basically lots of Japanese pothos that were created from plant mutations from specific pothos. I was able to get a couple of Japanese pothos from her. Thank you so much, May, for gifting me the Epipremnum aureum Resort. Beautiful variegation, and I want to continue to collect all of the Epipremnum aureum Teruno series. You can see right over here, look at how gorgeous this is. And some people will say, well, it looks like a golden pothos, but if you really look at the minute details, you will see that there is a difference. Like this one right here is at Resort pothos. Look at how it has that really neon color as it actually grows even more. Now with that particular pothos, you do want to provide it with quite a bit of light to really get the optimal conditions. But as you can see right here, she has a lot of Japanese pothos. That is one of my goals, is to actually collect every single Teruno series pothos. They are a little bit pricey, and it's because they're still not readily available in the US market. You can see right here, Teruno Bumpy, really like the look of the name of that. And you can just see there are so many different types of pothos. I would also say, please make sure you are supporting May at D&M Secret Garden. Please follow her on Instagram. Let them know you're a plant foldie. You can purchase from her. She does, I believe, sell on Etsy as well, but she is always at a lot of these plant shows like the Texas Aroid Show. One of my favorite Japanese pothos. This is called the Japanese Global pothos. I love that a lot. I was able to get one of those. And then I also wanted to get a Lime Compacta. So here's the thing about Epipremnum aureum Lime Compacta. It has smaller leaves than the Neon pothos. So it's basically a more compact, smaller leaf variety of pothos. So, you know, for smaller spaces, or if you want something which is a little bit smaller growth, that would be a plant I would recommend getting. Again, please support the Japanese pothos. I want to make sure that we get a little bit more awareness. You can also follow Teruno World on Instagram to really see all of the different varieties. But it's interesting that a lot of these plants have been created from a lot of these plant mutations. I know that the global green pothos was discovered in Japan. You can see that is the Japanese global pothos. Love that. It's growing and it's not necessarily getting larger leaves. Those are some of her mother plants and showcase plants. Look at how gorgeous this one is. Let me know in the comments if you've actually grown Japanese pothos. But again, going to a show like the Texas Aroid Show 2024, you are able to find some really good vendors. I would say they've had some of the best plant vendors. And for me, looking forward to 2025 next year, my goals are to continue to travel, to continue to film and really cover a lot of these plant shows. I'm hoping to go to some shows out of state. So please leave a comment in the comment section if you know of any plant shows that I need to go ahead and plan for, because, you know, going to these places right here, I just definitely want to continue to surround myself with all of these uncommon and rare plants. Like right here, look at that right there. That is a beautiful pothos. This one, look at that, that variegation. Some people may not be into pothos. You know, some people will say that pothos is a basic plant, but as I say in all of my videos, basic is amazing. Basic is the best. Sometimes, you know, life can be super complicated, but if you go back down to the basics, that is what's going to give you a little bit more joy. That's what's going to keep you happy. That's what's going to make things simple. And I think keeping life simple, keeping plants simple is what really will, you know, I guess give you more joy in your plant collection. But anyways, I could keep talking to you about some of my plant insights, but as you can see right here, I did spend quite a bit of time just looking at all of her gorgeous looking plants. These Japanese pothos, again, we definitely need to see more of these right here. This Victory pothos, for instance, has a little bit more bumpy texture to the leaves. So even just the minute details about these pothos. And so I've gotten into my pothos collection where I'm looking for like really interesting variegation or leaf shapes and hoping that I can propagate them and maybe stabilize or get that same trait to grow with all of these plants. So we'll see. I did notice though that Costa Farms has been able to release a couple of the Teruno series Japanese pothos. I know they've gotten the Champs Ulysses out there and also the Neon Enjoy pothos. So some big box stores are getting them, but you know, as far as the Teruno series, these pothos are patented plants, and so you know, legally you can't really sell them long term unless you have the rights to do so. So there's this whole process about that. But as far as these Japanese pothos, I would say go to DM Secret Garden. She is one of the premier sellers in the United States for Japanese pothos. Again, leave in the comments what you think about these pothos plants, what you would purchase, what your insights are. And I love engagement, and I really want to make sure that we continue the dialogue. That love song pothos right there, really love that it's like the Marble Queen version of the Shangri-La. Love that as well. And you can see she does have a starter thing. What I will say about pothos plants is they are pretty fast growing pothos. Some of them are a little bit slower than others, but in the end, say you get a starter pothos like this, you can continue to grow it and actually end up getting like a full plant if you just take cuttings and continue to fill up the pot. But I really am all about the pothos plant. For me, it's a basic plant for some people, but for me, it's a plant that will bring you joy because of the simplicity of the plant, how readily available it is. Well, you know, Japanese pothos aren't as readily available, and that's the reason why the price is a little bit more so than the average pothos you would find at a big box store. So again, plant foldies, if you made it this far into the video and you still have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you feel inclined or inspired to help me on a monetary basis, you can always drop a super sticker for me or a super thanks. That definitely helps out with some of the traveling and just the cost to produce these videos. I am thinking about doing a Patreon for our plant foldies. That way, you know, it can help support some of my plant budgeting in terms of just my impulse buys, but more so just the gas and travel time it takes to go from one, you know, big box store or one plant show to another. So again, if you feel in tune to possibly drop a super sticker or a super thanks, I don't really have shame in a sense of being really transparent about that, because it can be a little bit costly to do a lot of the traveling and to just produce these videos. But Overall, the biggest way you can support the Grow Folds YouTube plant channel is just through your viewership, watching these plant videos in its entirety, hitting the like button, leaving many comments, and just really engaging with me is really all I ask. The super sticker thing, that's not something that I would require. If you feel inclined to do so, that would be amazing as well. But going back to these Japanese pothos, that's the thing about the Texas Aroid show is they had a lot of different types of plants, lots of different vendors. So as far as like even the vendors, they are some of the best of the best. We had international vendors, we had a lot of Houston vendors, we had vendors from out of state, and to see this actual plant show come to life, and you can see that it's getting later, and you can see that there are more vendors that have filled up this space. So we are going to Art Garden Flowers, one of my favorite vendors as well, because I ended up getting that Aglaonema Widuri, beautiful orange colored Aglaonema with large leaves. That's the thing. We can't find as many Aglaonemas unless, say, Costa Farms produces them. I think it's such an underrated plant. It is a plant that I hope, as a plant foldy community, a Grow Folds community, we can get more people excited and really into Aglaonema. Please leave in the comments if you do like Aglaonemas, if you've ever imported plants from overseas, what your insights are. If you have questions about just the acclimation period of import plants. So all of these plants from Indonesia, you cannot just put them, take the sphagnum moss and plant them directly into soil. You really have to have a little bit more of a process of acclimating these plants. You got to think they travel thousands of miles to make it into an area where the environment itself is different. But as far as Art Garden Flowers, love Ricky and his team. Look at how gorgeous these anthuriums are. And I'm just going to keep walking around here. Please follow Art Garden Flowers on Instagram so you can see more of these plants and potentially buy from Ricky. I know I intend to buy more plants from him in the near future because he has amazing plants. And, hands down, that is the thing. Whenever you find a plant vendor and you've created a friendly relationship with them where you can trust the vendor, you're going to get the plants, you want to continue to support them. And for me, that is what I was able to accomplish at the Texas Aroid Show. I was really able to meet a lot of these plant vendors in person, really talk about, the plants that they grow, their processes of growing the plants, and just any plant insights. Like we're back at Cultivar, the vendor Cultivar, and you can see that they have all of these Monstera albos, and they do specialize in Monstera albos. It is a beautiful plant as well. I finally got a highly variegated Monstera albo from a seller called Fitzgerald's Tropicals, which is a grower out in Dallas. But as far as Cultivar, they are also known for their Monstera albos, and all of their plants are propagated in-house. And as you can see, this plant show is really starting to take into effect because a lot of the vendors have now gotten their setups pretty close to what it was going to look like and the final day, the actual show, which is a couple of hours. The show started, I believe, at 11, but if you had the VIP pass, you could get in an hour early. And I would recommend, if you're ever going to go to the Texas Aroid Show and you want to avoid the crowds, pay the little extra monetary fee to go indoors. But as you can see right here, I am still looking at some of these plants. You can see we've got a lot of these anthuriums, and these are anthuriums that were imported from Indonesia. What I would recommend again is if you're going to buy imports from overseas like Indonesia, do not put these plants straight into a soil substrate. Let them acclimate. And you can see plant foldies, we've just got a plethora of different types of plants, and you can see that even the domes, the humidity domes they have to get these plants overseas from Indonesia, I recommend that. You know, some people say to be cautious about buying plants from overseas. What I would say is if you do find a reputable seller like Greenspaces ID, you know, Art Garden Flowers, then you shouldn't really have any issues. The only thing I would also say is there always is going to be a little bit of a risk when you're importing plants or getting plants from overseas, because a lot of times it's really the mail carrier or even the weather. Those are the factors that could happen. Like it could get delayed and then the plant can sit in a warehouse for a while and it just becomes, you know, a downhill battle in terms of just, you know, getting the plant at a healthy state. But that is a reason why you want to go to a Texas Aroid show, because you can see that there are so many different plants. You can see that the setup is really coming to life. I mean, this one is Prop and Grow Plant Shop. Again, they had such a big selection of plants, and one of the best plant vendors out there. Plant Foldies and my viewers, I hope we can continue to support them. You can see that they are still setting that up, and right next to them is Greenspaces ID, also known as plantshop.us. That's in collaboration. I think that is just, you know, the broker that gets these plants imported, and you're able to get them at a pretty good price. So I'm just going to walk around here and just show you some of the plants that they had available to purchase. You can see they've got a lot of Hoyas also from Indonesia. And then the next plant vendor is another vendor that's out in the DFW area. These are Plants by Tukta. Love her plants. Tukta is so kind, and I just really love her bubbly personality. You can see she's got a lot of plant accessories, but also some really curated, rare, and uncommon plants. Had some beautiful variegated alocasia. They were a little bit pricey, but you can see she's got a lot of little planty you know, things like these beautiful little headbands, and I just love it. And you can see right here, these are the variegated alocasia. She didn't bring nearly as many plants as in PlantCon 2024, but needless to say, she still had some amazing looking plants like this variegated alocasia stingray. That is another unicorn alocasia that I would love to get, but unfortunately, I just couldn't afford, you know, buying a variegated alocasia like that at the current state of my budget. But, you know, Plants by Tukta, please make sure you are supporting her as well on Instagram and Facebook. Follow her at Plants by Tukta. She also has a lot of these plants that she grows in-house and propagates herself. You can see that's an Epipremnum aureum yellow flame, and she has these humidity domes with really all of her variegated alocasias. And if you're looking for some really nice variegated alocasias, she actually has a bunch readily available for you. You can even see right over here, she's got some more homolemena, you know, these variegated homolemena, sorry, that's how you pronounce it. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. And then she's also got some more variegated plants. Really love these variegated plants. So the variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. We've got some variegated philodendron silver sword right over here. Look at how highly variegated this one is. And you know, with Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, the variegated form, you want to find one that really has good variegation. a lot of its variegation is actually influenced by the amount of good genetics it has versus the amount of light you provided. Obviously, if you want to give more bright indirect light, it just gives the plant a little bit more boost in its health, but not always necessarily the variegation. But as you can see here, Plants by Tukta, she's got her whole setup right here. A lot of these alocasias. I would love to buy some plants from her eventually. I just have to make sure that my plant budget is within the range, and I can understand because some of these plants are really nice unicorn plants. So super excited that Plants by Tukta also made it to the Texas Aroid Show. She has some premier variegated alocasia. So if you're looking for some variegated alocasia, you definitely need to go to Plants by Tukta. And you can see right here, the show is coming to life. You know, the details are coming around, and as you can see on the right, you can see that that is D&M Secret Garden. She may traveled by herself, but you can see that she's got all of these gorgeous Japanese pothos, and I am all about these Japanese pothos. Please buy from May from D&M Secret Garden. She has some amazing plants, and you know, actually May's birthday was the day of the Texas Aroid Show, so wanted to wish her a happy birthday and more luck and more, you know, success in terms of just selling these plants. Please support the D&M Secret Garden because of all of these gorgeous pothos. She's got a lot of them available. And then as I spin around here, you can see that a lot of these setups, like you can see Raíz's setup right here, Raíz's plant shop. I love it. One of the most curated, very just put together booths right there. And they just had some amazing plants. And, you know, even just getting to talk to them was really a lot of joy for me. And that's the thing about looking at the behind the scenes of a plant show coming together. I was really impressed with how quickly these vendors got their plants together, how healthy these plants were. And I always want to say, please make sure to, you know, let these plant vendors know that we appreciate them, especially for the efforts that they place in terms of just being able to grow the plants. And this is that Delta Forest by Wild Roots, which eventually won the darling of the show. And I can see why everybody loves anthuriums. And this is a massive, phenomenal showcase plant. Love it a lot. And, you know, as far as Wild Roots Nursery, which is actually based out in New Braunfels, Texas, that is another plant nursery I'm hoping that I can visit at some point to film and actually feature. They had some amazing plants, but you can see all of these plants right here are the plants that were for the show, just to see who, you know, it was like a plant competition that, you know, the people that came to the show would actually vote on. But that variegated Belitier, gorgeous plant. It's another stunner for me. I need one of those. So if anybody wants to fund me, you can definitely fund me with a super sticker or super thanks. But as you can see here, Nest Tropicals is almost completely set up. It is late in the evening. You know, me being able to just kind of showcase this. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I know that it was a little bit longer, but hopefully you guys will see that there is quite a bit of effort when it comes to making a plant show like the Texas Aroid Show a successful one. It really starts with the plant vendors, the organization, the organizers, the volunteers, and obviously the plant consumers and plant shoppers like myself that attend these plant shows to purchase plants. And I'm always a big supporter for, you know, supporting local, supporting small businesses. It's one of those things that will continue to grow the plant community as well. So let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, what you think of the behind the scenes setup. As you can see right there, Steve's Leaves is almost put together. We're going to walk around here and just see a couple more vendors and see what plants they have available.
All I want is something to love from you, baby. Oh, been so long. Why you keeping me waiting? Why you keeping me waiting?
As you can see, plant foldies, it looks like the show is almost together. You can see Plantita's Dreams. Fatima has pretty much got her set up together, and look at how full and impactful it is. If you saw the beginning of the video and where it is now, there is a lot of time and effort, and even just the merchandising is phenomenal. You can see that Nirvana Tropicals has the lighting going. So beautiful, so exciting, and you know, that was one of those things. I am just thankful that I have this platform where I can, showcase these types of plant shows, get everybody excited. So again, please make sure you are supporting the Texas Aroid Show, the Texas Rare Market, because this is going to be the point where you can actually get more access to seeing these plants. And again, like look at this right here, Plantita's Dreams, Teruno Pothos collection. If you want those Japanese pothos, you can get it from Plantita's Dreams as well. And you can get some of these more uncommon and rare Syngoniums. But it is late in the evening when I was filming this. I was actually super tired, just kind of walking around and interacting and just trying to get this. And then the final vendor I wanted to feature is Wild Roots Nursery. I mean, look at that, massive plants. All of these plants too, Wild Roots Nursery had some really good plant pricing. Again, Plantfoldies or anybody watching this video, number one, if you haven't already, please make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel with all the notification bell on. Hit the like button and also follow Wild Roots Nursery on Instagram. You can see that they have so many different types of philodendrons, Hoyas, different types of plants, and obviously the anthuriums. They have some really good anthuriums, and I would also say Wild Roots Nursery had some really cost-effective plants. And you can see right here, Toltec plant is all set up. So I don't know, Plantfoldies, if you like this video, please hit the like button. I did want to say thank you to the Texas Aroid Show for trusting me as a plant influencer. As always, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Growfolds. This is Richie. I will see you on the next one. Bye.